What's going on, all you big dogs, coffee connoisseurs, alligator wranglers, friends? What's good? uh, well, welcome back, man. It's been some time, and I feel like there's been a lot since the last time we spoke, since the last episode. There's been a lot of moving and grooving, a lot of things turning and burning, and I'd love just to kind of take a snapshot. And this is more of like a I'm gonna try to do this is what my intent is with this episode. I'm gonna try to make like a diary entry. At the same time, I'm going to make it to where like I'm just not talking to myself. I don't know. I'm gonna try to this new technique, and let's see how it goes. Hopefully you guys stay along with the ride with me. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to doing this. And so this is a solo episode. There's no guest today, just me and you, and some of the thoughts I've been thinking. So we got a few things to cover. We got reports from the Mats. We got the buzz report from the bees. We got the health report, and lastly, we got the brave report. So without any further ado, go ahead and hit the flashers, honk your horns, swerve a little bit, let everybody know that you're listening to the Coffee with Julian podcast. Hey, yo, maestro, wake up. Let's go, big dog.
Now, here's your host, the one and only Julian Torres.
So, from the Mats, here we go. This jiu-jitsu got good news story and got good news and bad news. And so I'll start off with the good news is, which in here's a spoiler alert. It's all good news, but I got my 4th stripe white belt, and I never thought, honestly, like I never thought like it would come this fast, and I knew like conceptually, like, oh dude, you're a white belt for about a year, give or take, and depending on if and everything with the belt system, it just depends on how often you go. And so I knew that how often I went, I would get it to I'd get promoted in about a year from now, so or from a year from when I started. And I kind of I'm not really, I like it's weird because it's like I'll never be a white belt again. Coming up soon in a few months from now. So I just I think that I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited because you think that, like, oh dude, I'm getting competent in this, and I can kind of do jujitsu, and but there's so like don't flatter yourself, Julian. Like, there's so much more you need to learn. There's so much more to learn, and yeah, man. So and another report with the jiu-jitsu is, or BJJ, is the fact. So I had a competition back in April 22nd, and it was really good. Some good things about it was, I was able to, stuff the guy, stop his advances, defend from his chokes and stuff like that. I was able to, the score ended up being 0-0, but he got an advantage because he attempted a choke on me, and I lost, and so that's the bad news, right? And if I had to really think about why did this loss, like why did this, and I cried afterwards, and I cried not like a but like tears were rolling down, and I was really upset, and I was really like fuck this, you know what I mean? Like, this is fucking stupid. Why am I doing this? Like, it's the worst, man. I drag my whole family, and we go and we do this together, and I'm always coming up with the loss, and I was just like, motherfucker. But I think that at the end of the day, like, yes, I am. The fact that I'm even out there with no legs trying to fight a dude who has all his appendages, yes, that it is a win, you know what I mean? Just going out there and towing the line. I think there's so many people that do jiu-jitsu that don't even compete. And yes, this is a small tournament. It's nothing like, you're going to see out there on like Instagram or nothing like that. So it's a super small tournament just with Gracie Baja. And I think the reason why it hurts so much is that I'm still learning how to lose. And it's like, dude, I just want to win so bad, and I want to be able to like. The truth is, like I want to be able to prove to myself that like the legs don't defy me, that I'm like I'm still able to be competent and tactfully proficient without my legs. You know what I mean? So, but that's just silly. Like I don't know. Like, I think that stuff's all wrapped up in a neat little package called like PTSD. But at the end of the day, I have to learn, and this is what jiu-jitsu is doing. Jiu-jitsu is like allowing me to lose and then be able to come home and like not like unhealthily like fester with it, but to sit back and really examine it and to look at it objectively and take some lessons that you did good and praise yourself there, and then be like, you need to make sure that you still learn how to lose and move forward from that, in the sense of where it's like, maybe, this is all part of the healing process of me losing my legs and processing that. It's real hard for me to, look at a situation and not factor in my legs with it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I love this stuff though, dude. I think everybody should do jiu-jitsu. Because it's so mysterious. There's things that like I really, really love about it. The whole cerebral, learning how to make a puzzle in your mind and then orchestrating that puzzle physically with your body, and then having somebody do that same thing to you in real time is really like, it's just neat. It's just like, I don't really, it's just really far out. But like, the human touch, 90% of the time when you're in there, you're hugging a person, and they're hugging you back. And it's like, I heard that you're supposed to get 8 hugs a day for your emotional well-being. And I'm hugging people for like an hour and a half, an hour at a time. So it's like I don't know, man. It's just so mysterious and it's so good. I think everybody should do it. Maybe I'm just partial because like my gym, I really love my gym and I really love the people that are in there. But yeah, so moving forward, I think, I'm going to really start looking at, maybe just stop caring, like stop thinking that I need to prove that I'm proficient in any regard. Because it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? The only person that really matters to is me. Because, I could be on the podium with the first place medal around my neck and still feel like crap because I'm just not emotionally well. You know what I mean? So I'm learning how to be my friend too. You know. You know. It's even funny to even say that kind of stuff out loud. To be my friend too. But it's true, like I really want to be intentional with how how I talk to myself and how I, for the most part, I'm good, you know what I mean? For the most part, I am friendly with myself and I'm encouraging to myself, you know what I mean? But every now and then that Mr. Naysayer shows up and he's like, it's because of your legs, bro. You're a piece of shit because of your legs, or you can't do this or they can't do that. So it's just like learning where does that stem from and looking at myself objectively and really putting it out there on Front Street so I can see it for what it is, and then deconstruct that intentionally in a healthy manner, you know what I mean? Like, and then move forward and really move forward with a positive ideology about myself. So yeah, that's from the mats. I'm, I don't know. I love this stuff. I love the fact that it's I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's just awesome. I think like I said, I think everybody should do it. And but yeah, that's the conclusion of the Matt report. And as you guys know, we are in full spring bloom. The weather is turning. The snow is melting. The flowers are blooming, and so that means that it's swarm season. So good news is that my beehive made it through the winter. We did it. Congratulations, for all you. And something, so like the other day somebody asked me, they go, so how did you get involved with the bees? You know what I mean? And like, why bees and why this and why that? And so, and I had told him that, one day I was at the beach with my family, and I was sitting there, and we have like this little shade tent, and this was like back in like 2016, I believe. And like the sand and prosthetics just they're not really good friends, so to speak. The ground moves underneath me. It's really hard for me to walk on. So most of the time I just sit in this little makeshift tent. Well, it's not a makeshift tent. It's a beach tent. So it's it's like half of a tent. It's like a dome piece, and there's it's just a vestibule type deal. And there's like little windows that you can put in, unzip, so your tent's not a parachute. You following along. And so I'm sitting in there, dude. The windows are open and stuff, and like this bee like comes in and like lands on like my heart, and I was like, okay, like it's very rare. I've never seen a bee at the beach before, period. Let alone none of them have ever landed on me, and especially like landed on my heart. And then so I looked up at the sky and I was like, okay, message received. Let me think about what this really means. And I do believe it was like the orchestrator of the universe telling me to like, hey, you need to, this is what you need in your life. And so and then in my yard, they would land on me, and I didn't feel threatened by them. I didn't, nothing like that. And so I started to, what are these bees, and like why, I don't even know nothing about them. Let me just start looking into them, And then one thing led to another, and I learned that, like, science looks at the bees as, as a single organism, what you see out there on flowers and stuff. And then you have the superorganism of the hive, and the hive is alive, and the hive itself is this object that is it's an object, and this object is living and breathing by the communal breath and heartbeats of these little tiny venomous insects. And you want to talk about, is there altruism out in the world? Is there a thing of true altruism? And the bees, will answer that as yes, there is. They will do everything for the hive, for the good of the hive, and for the good of their, presumably for the good of their genetics and for their family and stuff. And like the bee, the hive itself will notice that the queen is getting older, and she's not laying as many eggs, and she's kind of like falling down on the production line, and they will create a new queen, and then they'll kill this old queen, but the hive itself is alive, and the hive itself is well and taken care of in the meantime. So it's just like but there's all kinds of things that, there's every bee in there has a job. Every bee in there has something to do. There's nobody like lounging and everybody's pulling their own weight in wherever arena they can in, and it's just really, really, really interesting. Well, a couple weeks ago, yeah. So like a couple weeks ago, we were sitting there, and maybe a little longer, maybe more like a month ago, maybe like 4 weeks. Maybe we're hitting the 4 week mark. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What's important is that I was outside with my baby girl and my wife and my buddy Alan, and we were sitting there, dude. And all of a sudden, the hive that I have is like it appears to me, it looks like all the bees that live inside that hive are on the outside of the box, and they're covered. And you're talking like thousands of bees. We're talking like maybe close to like 3,000 bees. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It's a 3-tier hive, and the whole one side of it is like covered at least 3 fingers deep of bees. So like if I put my ring finger on the beehive, the white beehive box tower, the bees will hit my middle finger and my ring finger. So if I put it, perpendicular to it, we're looking at that's how thick the bees on the exterior of the wall are. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God, no! Like, my bees, what's going on? Oh my God. So everybody goes inside except for me. I put on my suit, zip, and I smash over there, right? My little tank wheelchair. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm looking, and I text the guy who I bought them from. I was like, dude, are they getting ready to swarm? He's like, any minute now. So he's like, if you have another box, you should grab that queen and take her and then catch the swarm. That way you have 2 hives. And so I'm like, okay, dude, let's get it. So I'm sitting there, man, and like, I try to find the queen, because I know she's obviously the new queen, who's sitting there with the swarm. Mind you, okay, now keep in mind that I don't have the original hive is still there and everything's fine. They're just the original hive number 1, created based off of the environment and based off how well they were doing. They made another hive. Now, when you see a swarm, essentially that is saying that hive that swarm came from is doing so good that they made a sexual reproductive organ and they put it out in the world. The sexual reproductive organ is obviously the queen of that original hive that it came from, and now it's getting ready to spread its genetics and spread. I would like to think of an appendage of the original hive, you know. So I got two hives right in front of me. Both of them are raging with bees. Both of them are in full swing. You got bees coming in and out, getting pollen and stuff like that. Nothing stops, right? So I try to grab this new unmated queen that's going to be a part of this swarm, and then she ducks back into the hive, and I'm just like, shoot, dude. And I was like, oh well, I'll wait for her to come back out, and we'll do this all over again. Okay, lo and behold, 20 minutes later, boom. They don't like stage on the outside anymore. They just start flooding out of the hive. They're ready to swarm in. So I put my bee suit back on, and I run out there, dude, and there's like this vortex of bees, like, and I'm standing in the center of it. It's like a cyclone, and it's like all like, and I'm like, that's all I can hear, and they're all around me, and I'm just like, what is this? Oh my god! And I was so pumped up, and I was just like, oh my god, they're everywhere! Oh my god! And obviously, like, I was too late. Like, how am I going to catch the queen in midair? Like, come on, you know what I mean? She's so small, I can't see her. And anyways, so they ended up, and I'm in the middle of it trying to like figure out what the heck's going on, and I'm like just super juiced up, super excited, you know, like just 100% like giggling and stuff like that. It's just insane. You know, they're all around me. All I can hear is the buzz, and they go to like a neighboring tree, and I'm like, cool. And so I go there, dude, and I catch her. I'm able to like sift through all the bees. I grab her, I put her in a clip, and I put her in a frame in a single story beehive that I have. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude, we're good. And so there we are. I got them, and it's definitely amateur hour because I get her. I put the bees are like all swarming back, and they go into the new hive box, and I'm like, cool. I'll leave them here till nighttime, and I'll come back and I'll grab the box and plug the entrance, grab the box, and put it in my yard. Now, as I take off my suit. I get back to my house, take off the suit because it's on the other side of the fence, and so I had to kind of like go near the road and stuff like that. Anyways, I get to my area to take off my suit and put all my tools away and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, like, I look out the corner of my eye and I watch the little tree stump that they were on. I kind of had wedged the beehive box. I kind of like wedged it up, and all of a sudden, like, I thought it was sturdy. I thought it was sturdy enough, but it fell, and all the bees are like, boom, they go, and I'm just like, oh well, I'll just pick it up tomorrow, because I'm not going to go there now. I mean, they're all super pissed, right? And the last thing I want to do is like mess around with a pissed off beehive, even though I'm all fully suited and booted, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just chaos. So anyways, so I get there, man, and I'm able to catch him again, and this time I catch him. This is the next day I catch him, and I put her back in there with the clip, and everything is good to go. And I ratchet strap it so it doesn't fall over again and stuff like that. And so it was all good, but it was a learning process. And while I put that new beehive in the bee yard in the apiary, I went to go check on the original beehive to make sure everything was good to go. And I was like hoping that maybe I would have seen some kind of honey, and no honey yet. So although I got that beehive late in the season, I got it in last August. I'm pretty hopeful that we were able to we'll get some honey this year. But as of right now, got no honey, 2 beehives, and everything's good to go. So, really excited. I didn't think that I would have 2 beehives, but yeah, we're moving and grooving. So it's just neat to watch them. The thing that I've learned the most from these bees, and the thing that I'd like to share with you that's like really probably important, is that what I like about them the most is, or what I've noticed is every time that I'm like with them and I'm working on them and I'm doing, beekeeper stuff, I feel juiced. I feel so good for like 2 or 3 days straight. Like I'm in complete bliss. And I can't get to them like all the time, like every day or every week, just because that's just not how like my life's. I don't have that much white space to where I can really dedicate a good afternoon to be with them, because I am new to this and it just takes a long time and stuff. But what I like about them the most is that like there's a sense of urgency. So there's, I'm kind of under the gun. It's like, you don't want the hive to be completely open for that long. You kind of want to get in there and get out, do your thing that you need to do, and, get moving, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So there's, move with a sense of urgency. There is a sense of danger, you know what I mean? Because these are venomous insects, and like, although like one bee is not scary, but when you have something like 30,000 bees swarming all around you and you really can't see past them, and they're like stinging your equipment, and you can feel they're trying so hard to like ram their stinger inside you, and you can feel that buzz, and like so there is like a sense of urgency, sense of danger, sense of purpose, to move through time and space really deliberately and really intentionally. You don't want to be like doing back and forth, you know what I mean? So it's just it kind of hits a lot of these wickets of like what the Marine Corps infantry did for me on a day-to-day basis. So and obviously just the honey, like when I can smell honey, my mouth literally just starts salivating, and it's so weird. It's like, I like honey, but I'm not a freak about honey, you know what I mean? But my body instinctually just knows like that's something to eat, that's really good stuff. So like I start salivating. It's just weird, but so it kind of hits all these I think these primitive wickets that I need to have in my spirit in order to feel like really like a sense of purpose and a sense of like I'm doing something good. And so I love it. Yeah. So and then obviously too, like the last thing that it's really teaching me is that like I can't be bringing in all the fire, the intensity. I can't be doing that, man. The very first time I opened one up, it was just like I was like, oh, I'm a beekeeper now. Hell yeah, look what I'm doing. And it was like I got lit up my hands. Dude, I got like hit like 6 or 7 times in one spot, and I was like, yeah, never again am I doing that. Bringing that kind of energy into there, you know what I mean? So just kind of gotta stay calm and chill. Can't be talking. Can't be really being too loud or anything like that. So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting into the hive in the next couple weeks or so, especially when the kids are out of school and I can get in there during like the afternoon time, not to be interrupted by like having to go pick them up or something like that. So I'm excited to be able to share more things with you here in the real near future about honey production and just overall bee care. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you dig it as much as I do. Now moving on to the health report desk. Overall, I'm doing really good. Legs, legs are still on the docket. We're still working on them. We're still trying to hone them in and get fixed and stuff. But something that I realized is that, like, this past year or so, that, they've been like a big time problem for me. And learning, getting a new process, and enrolling with the VA, getting all the paperwork. It just is the administrative side of it. It's been just something that I wasn't really prepared for. I'm not ragging on the VA, but it's not like they make it super seamless. They try their best, but there's still obviously some skin in the game and aggravation and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so working on my legs. But the thing that that the big health report is that I started doing. I've been going to like mental health appointments, seeing a therapist a few times since I've been out, which is 2013, and it seemed like to me that I was treating symptoms of PTSD. I went for bereavement. I went for like just overall like aggravation of the legs, and trying to cope with that and stuff like that. So I've anger management. I've done all this stuff, and I just seemed like I was just hitting wickets of, or like tentacles of PTSD. Like I wasn't directly attacking and delving into PTSD, because for like a long time, like I was just like in denial. I was like, nah, dude, I'm not. I don't have it. I'm good. But I would even say too, like I would admit it, but I was never like properly diagnosed with it. And I'd be like, how do you survive what I've survived and not have PTSD? And but I never was really I never really addressed it. I never really put my attention towards it, and to kind of just I don't know, just kind of like remedy it or learn it or bring it to light. I didn't have to I didn't always have to keep it in the dark, you know what I mean? And acknowledge it. I think that's what I'm really trying to say here is I never really acknowledged it personally that I had it. And so I went through the steps with the VA, and I got diagnosed. And so so I'm going through that right now, and I've tried cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, before. I was really successful with that, but this one's like CPT, Charlie Papa Tango, cognitive processing therapy. And so where behavior is really, I'm gonna change the behavior to change the way I think, and this one is I'm gonna change the way I think about these situations and these expectations I have. Are they helping me or are they hurting me? I'm really doing it for like 2 weeks now, so I plan on talking more about it and bringing you guys along with that. So that's the latest and greatest with me. But the reason why I really bring it up is because like recently, and I'm not. I just gave it like a little public service announcement before. What I'm about to talk about here from here on out is kind of like I don't know. The reason why I brought up the whole PTSD thing is because there was an event that recently happened in my life that brought forward all of these feelings that I thought I had worked through and I was good with them. So in no way, shape, or form am I saying that I'm a victim. In no way, shape, or form am I complaining about me not having any legs. So, with that being said, my buddy and really good friend, little brother of mine, Tim Reed, passed away from a heart attack recently, and I had went to his. He passed away in March. And in the beginning of the month, we laid him to rest, and and I was asked to do a little speaking, say a little eulogy type deal, um, for his funeral, and it was real difficult for me because I had to try to encapsulate this human being that meant so much to me in 3 paragraphs, and how do you even speak about somebody who meant so much to you? And how do you, at the same time, like, how do you process, like, him not saying, like, goodbye to you? It just, like, the record stops and the skips, and, like, you carry on with your melody, but his part of the song is over. And at first, like, and I know, like, he didn't want, like, no, like, special attention, or didn't want, to be, recognized and be put on Front Street like that, you know what I mean? But, like, now this is, like, how do you not celebrate a life like that? How do you not celebrate a dude like that, And even though, like, like, I don't know. And like, when I first found out, like, I was just so mad. I was angry, And I asked myself, like, dude, why are you so angry? Obviously it's not Tim's fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's nobody's fault. It's never anybody's fault. We don't have a say in, like, when we go. And it brought up this thing that, like, of how like, unimportant, maybe that's not the word. Maybe the word is, like, how little say I have in how life unfolds. Like, let me explain. I thought that me and Tim would, like, grow old together, and, like, we'd always be there, and we'd chit chat, and we'd have all these memories, and we have all these times and these meals and these conversations that we would always have, like, they would just keep going. And then, like, we'd be there for each other forever, and, like, we'd grow old together, and but then it just doesn't happen. And all of a sudden you're just like, dang, dude. Like, I wasn't done with Tim. But then life's like, yes, you are. And for anybody who doesn't know Tim, me and him, were with the same unit. We were together. Back in 2010, we both got hurt. We both survived IED blast. I was there with him when he took his first steps, with his prosthetic on. I was there when he got married. I was there when he got brought into the program to get his own custom adaptive house. So I was there for some pretty big moments in his life, and you just think that, I don't know, man. You just think, it just. Anyways, I brought it up because, like, it brought up all this stuff that I thought I was good with, in the sense of, like, that I'm okay with not. I'm okay with the uncertainty of life. I'm okay with the idea and the notion that life bats last. That like no matter what inning we're in, no matter how far ahead of the game I feel that I'm doing, no matter how much of a grip I think I have on it, it's the bottom of the ninth and life's up to bat. You know what I mean? Bases are loaded. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and you just say like, man, dude, you know. And at first it was just like, I was just like, F this. I'm not gonna love another human being again. The people that I love right now, like, that's it. Because I know how these stories end. You know, they all end in tragedy. They're all gonna end in like um they're all gonna end in like me feeling really, really heartbroken. But then I said to myself, like, man, dude, and that's the funny thing about pain is that it demands to be felt. Like all you can do is feel that pain at that moment. And that's all you can think about is that fucking pain. And you're just like, motherfucker. Like, I don't want to feel this ever again. I don't like it. But then you just say to yourself, man, dude, the only reason why you hurt is because you have the opposite side of the spectrum to compare it to. And the reason why it hurts is because it felt so good to love. And that no matter how much I am hurting, and no matter how raw and like sad that and heavy that pain is, the idea is never to stop loving. You know, because that's what makes life tolerable. And it's even really hard to even talk about it, man. You know, because these are like really private thoughts. And I was like, should I even talk about this? Should I even should I even share these thoughts with people? You know, is it, you know, and then that's when I came to the idea like, dude, this has to be like a diary entry for me. You know, and I just appreciate you guys listening. But if I may, like, just kind of share one more little tidbit about Tim. You know, this whole time, you know, you're with your peers and you're like, well, let me show you something and let me be there for you, bro. And like, we're going to do this together and we're going to go through all of this and we're going to share our ideas and stuff. And it's you being there for a friend, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, like your friend gets ripped from you. And then you look back on all these conversations and you're like, dude, you were teaching me this whole time on how to be a certain way. And the lesson that Tim taught me, even with his last human deed, but there was like his grand finale, right? Like his best masterpiece, his gold standard self, is his ability to reach and touch others was second to none. But Tim had a way about him is that like he didn't conform to nobody. Tim, you hear this word of authenticity all the time. And you hear about this word about being yourself and being unapologetically authentic, right? But Tim didn't, and you always hear people say like, oh, he hummed his own tune or whatever like analogy or metaphor you want to use, right? But he was a rare bird, and uh, he lived in the moment, and he made little plans, and he went day by day, and he lived in the moment, and and if he talked to you, and if he shared a meal with you, if he gave you his time, then that meant that he loved you, because he didn't do anything that he didn't love. Period. And I think that we all could use a little bit more of that, have that kind of courage, to be yourself all the time. That you don't wear a mask, you don't put on the super nice clothes because you're scared about what people are going to say to you. Show up in whatever's comfortable, or whatever the case is, right? And that was Tim, man. He was, he was like that song from Leonard Skinner, Freebird. And like him being able to be so gentle and caring and so loving and nurturing, and then in the same breath turn back around and be some ferocious, Marine corporal on the battlefield, throwing hand grenades and just smashing the enemy. I don't know. I'm sure gonna miss him. And I really love him. If I think I had to be there, or if I had to say something to him today, if he was sitting across from me, I think I would tell him two things. I would say, thank you for your time, and I love you, buddy. And with it being so close to Memorial Day, you're just like, man, all these guys that we carry with us. Memorial Day isn't a day for me. Memorial Day, like Independence Day, is every day. I think about these guys all the time. 99% of the time, there's no tears involved, but they're always there. They're in the ambient noise, the ambient static in the room, and they're there. You feel them. You feel people like Lance Corporal Cody S. Childers, Sergeant Anthony Mattioni, Sergeant Jason Kalo, Lance Corporal Nathan Schultz, Corporal Tevin L. Wynn, Staff Sergeant Jesse Colio, Sergeant Christopher Wilson, Specialist Chris Coughlin, Lance Corporal Christopher Bennett, Lance Corporal Artem Lazukin, and Corporal Timothy J. Reed. You know, there's a Hunter S. Thompson quote that I think is appropriate for all these gentlemen. And that life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving there safely in a pretty and well-pressed body, but rather skin in, broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." And my promise to all these guys is, I don't know, nobody knows when it's their time to go, but when it's my time to go and I'm there with them, based off of my actions that I do on a day-to-day basis, I will accumulate stories to share with them. And they will say, "Remember when he did this? Because I was with you there. Remember when he did that? Because I was helping you up." So with that being said, in the conclusion of this episode, let's live life to the fullest. Let's go accumulate some stories. And let's live a life well lived. I love you guys so much, man. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you for your time. And you've been listening to the Coffee with Julian podcast. Peace. Remember that the opening and closing music is produced and created by Zoo Will. Thank you so much for your time, listening, subscribing, and supporting this podcast. I sincerely appreciate you. Be good to yourselves. You deserve it. Speak to you real soon. And remember that you've been listening to the Coffee with Julian podcast.
Thank you for listening to my papa. Bye!